Tulsi Maharani ki jai.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Stotar Sri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Stotar Shata Sri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Namachari Sri Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki. Sri Mayapur Dham Ki. Sri Mathura Dham Ki. Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki. Sri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki. Ganga Mai Ki. Yamuna Mai Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Naranayam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim sartim vyasam tato jayam udirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesa bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavaduttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed in loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we will be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 58, Text 24. We will start with this verse, and we may go on to another verse or two. Yadaiva Krishna Sandishta Parthanam Paramadbhutam Karayam Asanagaram Vichitram Vishwakarmana Yadaiva Krishna Sandishta Parthanam Paramadbhutam Karayam Asanagaram Vichitram Vishwakarmana Yadaiva Krishna Sandishta Parthanam Paramadbhutam Karayam asa nagaram Vichitram Vishwakarmana Daiva Krishna Sandishta Karmana Daiva Krishna Sandishta Paramadhuta Vichitram Vishwakarmana Yadaiva Krishna Sandishta Artanam Paramaputa Parayamasana Vichitram Vishwakarmana Yadaiva Krishna Sandishta Vishwakarmana Yadaiva Krishna Sandishta Word for word meanings. Yada eva, when. Krishna, Lord Krishna. Sandishta, requested. Hartanam, for the sons of Prita. Parama, most. Adbhutam, amazing. Karayam asa, he had constructed. Nagaram, a city. Vichitram, full of variety. Vishwakarmana, by Vishwakarma, the architect of the demigods. Translation. Describing a previous incident, Sukadeva Goswami said, upon the request of the Pandavas, Lord Krishna had Vishwakarma build them a most wonderful and amazing city. Please repeat. Describing a previous incident, Sukadeva Goswami said, upon the request of the Pandavas, Lord Krishna had Vishwakarma build them a most wonderful and amazing city. Purport by the servants of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti mentions that this city was constructed before the burning of the Khandava forest, and hence before the Lord found his bride Kalindi. Umagyana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swavadatikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapata Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Pitam Tam Sajivam Sadhuitam Savadutam Parichina Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Pitam Cha Hey Krishna Korana Sindho Dina Bandho Jagapate Gopesha Gopikanta Radhakanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyebcha Pitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I'm going to read the verse again. Describing a previous incident, Shukadeva Goswami said, upon the request of the Pandavas, Lord Krishna had Vishwakarma build them a most wonderful and amazing city. I'm going to read the Tikas. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, the order of events is first the building of the city, then the burning of the Khandava forest, then the building of the assembly hall, and then gaining Kalindi as his wife. Being requested by the Pandavas, he had Vishwakarma build his city. Jiva Goswami and Sanatana Goswami's commentaries are similar, so I'll read Sanatana Goswami's. The Lord acted for the benefit of the Pandavas in another way. This is a previous incident, explained in 4 verses. Only because of the Pandavas' request, Eva, he who is directly Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, had the city built by Vishwakarma. It was most astonishing, indescribable, or beyond all human capacity, because it was endowed with the various beauties of the 14 worlds. It was greater than Indra's city. And actually, I'm going to read Jiva Goswami's purport because it is a little different. The Lord acted for the benefit of the Pandavas in another way. This is a previous incident explained in 4 verses. The order of events is this. The city was built. Then the Khandava forest was burned. Then Arjuna took the assembly hall from that place. Finally, Krishna accepted Kalindi. The word Eva indicates that Krishna was under the control of the Pandavas. At their request alone, he had the city built. The city was most astonishing because it was variegated, vichitram, endowed with multifarious splendors from the 14 worlds. So in the previous verse, we were kind of finishing up the pastime where Arjuna and Krishna find Kalindi in this forest while they're visiting the Pandavas in Indrapasta. Is that right? So this next verse seems to jump to another pastime where Krishna has Vishwakarma come down and construct a city for the Pandavas, this glorious city. And in this verse, it seems to suggest that he's explaining, or it seems to suggest that these following pastimes that come up in the next 4 verses happened before Kalindi was found. And I want to go on to the next verse, just because it will kind of go in with this pastime. So text 25. Bhagavams tatra nivasan swanam priya chikirshaya agnaye kandavam datum arjunasya saratihi. Translation: the Supreme Lord stayed in that city for some time to please his devotees. On one occasion, Sri Krishna wanted to give the Khandava forest as a gift to Agni, and so the Lord became Arjuna's charioteer. Purport. This is purport by the servants of His Divine Grace. Prabhupada. Purport says, Srila Jiva Goswami explains the sequence of events that occurred during Lord Krishna's stay with the Pandavas. He states that first the Khandava forest was burned, then Kalindi was found, then the city was constructed, and then the assembly hall was presented to the Pandavas. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, Krishna became Arjuna's chariot driver so that Arjuna would get his weapons. Khandava was a forest of Indra. And Jiva Goswami writes, the Lord stayed there a long time happily. Nivasan. He became Arjuna's charioteer so Arjuna could gain his bow. This was a side effect of giving the forest to Agni. So the reason I went on to the next verse is because, the purport seems to contradict what Jiva Goswami was saying, as far as the order of events. And then I was trying to reconcile this, because then I was reading in Krishna book, and, the order of events is a little bit different too. So rather than get too focused on the order of events, which maybe we can discuss at the end of class, the important point in this first verse is Lord Krishna had Vishwakarma come to build this city for the Pandavas. And one thing, since studying up on these verses, like the next four verses kind of constitute like maybe, a couple pastimes. And it's just 4 short verses. And so when I'm reading these verses, what am I trying to say? So the verse, it's just a short verse, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, what is going on here? Why is this, it mentions this short pastime of the Khandava forest and Lord Agni, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on, because it doesn't give us much information. So then I went back to the Krishna book, so I'll read Srila Prabhupada's explanation of this pastime, because it really helps to illuminate the whole thing. So this is right after, they found Kalindi and that pastime. After this, Krishna was asked by King Yudhisthira to help in constructing a suitable house to be planned by the great architect Vishwakarma, the celestial engineer in the heavenly kingdom. So this isn't like any ordinary kingdom. This isn't any ordinary house. I mean, this is like a super god creating like a super kingdom. He helped Krishna create Dwarka. So we can only imagine how amazing this kingdom is. Krishna immediately called for Vishwakarma, and he made him construct a wonderful city according to the desire of King Yudhisthira. When this city was constructed, Maharaj Yudhisthira requested Krishna to live with them a few days more in order to give them the pleasure of his association. Lord Krishna accepted the request of Maharaj Yudhisthira and remained there for many days more. In the meantime, Krishna engaged in the pastime of offering Khandava forest, which belonged to King Indra. Krishna wanted to give it to Agni, the fire god. Khandava forest contained many varieties of drugs, and Agni required to eat them for rejuvenation. Agni, however, did not touch Khandava forest directly, but requested Krishna to help him. Agni knew that Krishna was very much pleased with him because he had formerly given him the Sudarshan disc. So in order to satisfy Agni, Krishna became the chariot driver of Arjuna, and both went to the Khandava forest. After Agni had eaten up the Khandava forest, he was very much pleased. This time, and this goes into the next verse, 26 and 27. After Agni had eaten up the Khandava forest, he was very much pleased. This time he offered a specific bow known as Gandiva, 4 white horses, one chariot, and an invincible quiver with 2 specific arrows, considered to be talismans, which had so much power that no warrior could counteract them. When the Kundava forest was being devoured by the fire god Agni, there was a demon of the name Maya who was saved by Arjuna from the devastating fire. So I'll stop there for a moment. Anyways, just trying to study for this class, I'm trying to understand just one verse or two verses. But in order to understand those 2 verses, it's like I really have to dig in and like dive into the mess that is my brain and intellect and really like kind of like gnaw at it and try and like figure it out. And then, I can't figure it out. So then I have to go and look back at what Prabhupada has written and read what other devotees have written. And then it's like this whole process. And the reason I'm saying this is because there's so much joy. I can't explain like how much joy, because it's also mixed with fear and anxiety, but just the amount of joy just trying to engage yourself in these pastimes, in Krishna's pastimes, in the pastimes of the Bhagavatam, trying to understand what's going on, and I still don't understand everything, but just the joy, it's unfathomable. That was one major point I wanted to bring up. But also so when I'm doing this and you're reading like about this, it's only a couple verses, it just seems like a short pastime. But when Krishna does one thing, it's glorious. It could be discussed and talked about for ages. So he does one thing, he does a million things. So then I was trying to figure out what's so great about this kind of a forest, what's going on here. So then I'm looking through all the books on the bookshelf, and then I remembered this Mahabharata book, and then I brought this out, and I'm searching through it, and there's a whole pastime about the Khandava forest. So the point I wanted to make is there is so much suffering in this world. There's so much pain and suffering and anxiety and anguish, but there is so much joy that can be had, like real satisfaction, if you can just surrender and engage in these pastimes. And you don't have to understand everything. You don't have to get everything. But just trying to understand, just trying to see what's going on, you can feel such great satisfaction and joy. It's contentment. It's not the fleeting kind of thing like, oh man, I want to go eat a pizza or go watch a movie, and then it's over, and then, half an hour later I might be, sick. Or, this helps you grow and become a better devotee. It helps clean all the crust and dust and garbage that's been, piled on over years and years of being in this material world. And anyways, before I keep going, I'm just wanted to maybe dive into this pastime of the Khandava forest a little bit, if that's okay. Oh, I just wanted to read a description here about when Vishwakarma built the city. It's a little description. Basically, Krishna asked Indra to come down when they're building the city to kind of like, Anyways, I'll just read. This is Indra. He bowed before Krishna and asked, "What shall I do for you at this time, my lord?" Krishna asked him to arrange for a city to be constructed for the Pandavas. He told Indra to sprinkle his heavenly nectar across the land so that it would again become rich and fertile, saying, "So be it." Indra called for Vishwakarma, the architect of the gods. After being instructed by Indra, he began work on the city. All around the site, granite walls rose to the skies. Vishwakarma constructed white palaces and mansions, whose windows looked like the divine eagle Garuda's outstretched wings. The city was protected by massive dark gates that resembled clouds. No weapon could assail them. Deadly darts and other missiles were placed along the tops of the defensive ramparts. The turrets were filled with powerful men, all highly trained in warfare and with all weapons at their disposal. The city was then surrounded by delightful woods full of blossoming and fragrant trees. Everywhere were lakes crowded with swans and lotus flowers. The city streets were wide and well designed, with pleasant groves and gardens between them. Pleasure houses stood in the vast public concourses, and there were countless temples dedicated to Vishnu and the heavenly deities. The Pandavas' own palace appeared like the heavenly Mount Meru. Full of every opulence, it stood in the center of the city, surrounded by garrisons of warriors. So the city is quite glorious, and it will also have some bearing in future verses, as we will see. So now I'll just try to dive into this pastime a little bit. One day Arjuna suggested, "O Krishna, the days are hot. Let us go for some time to the banks of the Yamuna. We have constructed many fine pleasure houses there." Krishna agreed to his proposal, and they set off. They soon arrived at a charming spot amid groves of tall trees. High white mansions stood along the river banks, looking like a city of the gods. Krishna and Arjuna entered one of the houses, where they were served varieties of exquisitely flavored foods and drinks. They lay down upon golden couches spread with silk covers. After relaxing for some time, they decided to go for a walk in the woods. The two heroes wandered along the riverbank, discussing martial arts and past battles they had each fought. Having walked for a distance, they sat down upon an ivory bench that had been placed near the edge of a dense forest. As they continued to talk, a Brahmin suddenly emerged from the woods. They looked at him in surprise. He resembled an old sal tree with a complexion like molten gold. His beard and hair were bright yellow, and he shone like the morning sun. His two eyes were like lotus leaves, and his body was well formed and powerful. As the Brahmin approached them, blazing like fire, Krishna and Arjuna stood up and awaited his order. In a resonant voice, the Brahmin said, "I know you two to be the foremost of all men. I myself am a voracious Brahmin who eats much. I have therefore approached you in order to beg my food and to be gratified by you." Both Krishna and Arjuna folded their palms and asked the Brahmin what food he would like. The Brahmin replied, "I do not eat ordinary food. Know me to be Agni, the fire god. Give me food that suits me. Please help me to devour this Khandava forest." He indicated the jungle by which they were standing. Although he had already made many attempts to consume the forest, his efforts had been repeatedly thwarted by Indra. This was because Indra's friend, the Naga Takshaka, lived in the forest. Whenever Agni blazed up and began to cover the forest, Indra would send torrents of rain to stop him. The fire god continued, "Both of you are experts in arms. By your prowess, you will be able to prevent Indra from stopping me. Thus I shall consume this great forest. O heroes, this is the food I desire to have from you." Krishna and Arjuna looked at each other in surprise. They assured Agni that they would do everything in their power to help him, but they were curious as to why he wanted to consume this particular forest. The deity explained that the Khandava forest contained numerous varieties of medicinal herbs. He needed the herbs because he was suffering a malady due to having eaten excessive amounts of ghee. There had been a great sacrifice performed by a king named Swaitaki, in which so much ghee was offered into the fire that Agni became ill. Brahma then told him that he could be cured if he ate the herbs in the Khandava forest. When Agni failed in his attempts to consume the forest, Brahma told him that he would succeed if he could gain the assistance of Krishna and Arjuna. Brahma had said, in a previous incarnation, these two men were in fact the ancient and infallible deities Nara and Narayan. They have appeared on the earth to accomplish the celestials' purpose, therefore ask for their help. Agni concluded, "I now depend upon you too. I must eat this forest. Brahma has also informed me that the living beings within the forest are sinful and should be destroyed. Therefore, do not harbor any doubts. This act is sanctioned by authority. Arjuna replied, I possess many celestial weapons, but I have no bow capable of bearing their power. If I am to achieve the task you have set, I will require an inexhaustible quiver of arrows and a chariot drawn by celestial steeds. If you can provide all this, then we will surely accomplish your desire. Agni meditated upon Varuna, god of the netherworlds, and the deity immediately appeared and said, What shall I do for you? Agni knew that Varuna kept many celestial weapons in the depths of the ocean. Therefore he asked him to present Arjuna with a celestial bow, Gandiva, as well as 2 inexhaustible quivers of arrows. Agni also asked that Varuna bring forth a chariot belonging to Soma, the moon god. Varuna agreed and caused all those things to appear at the spot. Arjuna looked with wonder at the Gandiva bow. It appeared like a rainbow embedded with celestial gems. As tall as a man, it was flawless. The Pandava took up the shining bow and forcefully twanged its string. A sound like the crash of thunder resounded throughout the forest, terrifying all the creatures. Holding the bow, the joyful Arjuna next approached the huge golden chariot. It was filled with varieties of celestial weapons, as well as the 2 inexhaustible quivers Agni had requested. The chariot was yoked with golden harnesses. The chariot was yoked with golden harnesses to silvery steeds from the land of the Gandharvas. These horses were capable of going anywhere within the worlds and could move with the speed of the wind or the mind. Above the chariot flew a banner bearing an image of Hanuman, Rama's great monkey servant. Hanuman seemed to be burning everything that fell within his gaze. Other flags flew on the chariot bearing images of fierce from their standards. Arjuna circumambulated the chariot and then mounted it like a virtuous man ascending to heaven. He put on the suit of celestial armor that lay there. As he stood with the Gandiva in his hand, he resembled the sun shining from behind an evening cloud. He then drove the chariot around, smiling as he heard the loud rumble of its wheels. Arjuna again addressed Agni, O fire god, we are now ready to satisfy your request. Armed with the Gandiva and assisted by Krishna, I am able to withstand the entire host of gods, united with the Asuras. What then to speak of Indra? Therefore, blaze up as much as you like and surround this forest. Agni immediately expanded himself around the forest and began to consume it with his 7 kinds of flames. He assumed the fearful appearance he assumes at the end of an eon, which he uses to destroy all things. Krishna then began to drive the chariot around the forest. It moved with such speed that it appeared to be continuously present on every side of the forest. Whenever Arjuna saw a creature trying to escape from the conflagration, he immediately shot it down. Being slain in the presence of Krishna, the supreme deity, all the creatures dying in that forest assumed spiritual forms and ascended to the highest regions of transcendence. The roar of the fire could be heard for miles. Red, orange, and blue flames shot high into the sky. The lakes and ponds in the forest were boiled dry, and the rocks melted. No creature was able to escape from the blazing Khandava forest, and their screams mixed with the crackling of the fire. It blazed up to such an extent that it caused fear even to the celestials, who went in a body to Indra and said anxiously, O Lord of the immortals, why does Agni burn all creatures below? Has the time come for the world's destruction? Indra looked himself to see what was happening on the earth. Anyways, there's a lot more to go, and I want to keep going because it's actually getting me excited. The point is that these pastimes are all-encompassing. And these pastimes are non-different than Krishna himself. If somehow we can surrender ourselves and engage in these pastimes and reading and in studying these pastimes, so much joy can be had continuously, and it's ever increasing, ever flowing. Anyways, Hare Krishna. Is there any questions? No. Thank you for your attention. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvanda Maravinda Nalaya Taksham Varhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Bhagom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Pasyanti Panti Kayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pistaya Bhutale Shimate Bhakti Vedanta Guru Samini Tino Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacha Nirvisesha Shunyavare Pasacha Desatanane Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadara Siva Sari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Kuti Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hare Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hare Govinda Jaya Jaya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Run, I go looking on a run, I go looking on a dragon. I go looking on a run, I go looking on a dragon. Hey. Rade, Rade, Rade. Rade, hey, Rade, Rade, Jaya Rade, Jaya Rade. Jai Jai Om Vishnupad.
Chaitodarpana marjanam bhavamaha nirvapanam Shreya Kairavya Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratitam Yatinam Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Hari Nina Sarva Shaktis Tatrapitani Amita Smaranena Kala Etadrishita Vakriba Bhagavan Mamapi Dordaiva Midrishami Hajjanina Nuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Suhishunam Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Hoitaki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishamevavam Budao Kripayata Vapada Pankaja Stita Tuli Sadrashim Vachintaya Nayanam Galadashu Daraya Vadaram Gadgadru Dayagira Pulakarnishitam Vapukada Tavanamagrahane Bhavishyati Yuga Yatam Namishena Chakshusha Vashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahiname Ashlishyavapadam Ratam Panastumam Adarshanam Marmahata Karotuva Yatatadava Vidadatulam Padam At Prananatastusa Evanapara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction